I'm Kendra Cook, your host for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado. The Dolores County Broadcasting Network is the producer of DCTV with support from the Southwest Colorado TV Translator Association. That's the special district association responsible for bringing the area free to access TV stations over the air by antenna. This is a community TV station. If there's a news story or event information that you would like to share, you can call us at 970-677-4119. If you're a business or organization, we welcome you to find out about sponsorship opportunities for banners or video segments run on the channel. This is the Wednesday program for April 1st, 2020. Rabbit, and be sure not to be fooled today. Now, DCTV Daily News. The Journal and the Dove Creek Press reported on our search and rescue efforts for Tuesday. Rescue crews responded Tuesday to an avalanche triggered by 3 backcountry skiers in Dolores County near Rico, the Dove Creek Press reported. The slide occurred in the mountains northeast of Rico, above 11,000 feet. The area is rugged terrain near Telescope Mountain, said Montezuma County Sheriff Steve Nowlin. Dolores County Search and Rescue, Rico Search and Rescue, and San Miguel Search and Rescue teams responded to the incident. The Colorado Avalanche Information Center said a forecaster is on the scene and will post information on its website. Information on how many people were caught in the avalanche and if there were injuries was not available. According to a Rico resident, a rescue helicopter was seen in the Telescope Mountain area about noon. Tuesday, avalanche risk in the North San Juan Mountains around Rico was considered moderate, above tree line and below tree line, according to CAIC. The moderate rating is a level 2 on the 5-level scale. Moderate danger is defined as heightened avalanche conditions on specific terrain types. According to the Avalanche Center, new snow rests on crusts in some places, providing a slick sliding surface that allowed slides to travel further than normal. Weak layers buried 2 to 3 feet deep on northwest through northeast to east-facing slopes have also been stressed by the load. These slides may be stubborn, but if you manage to find the not-so-sweet spot, avalanches could break 2 to 3 feet deep, leading to a dangerous ride, the Avalanche Center said. We wish them all well in their recoveries. Here's a follow-up to the Highway 491 crash on Monday that held up traffic for quite a while. It was released in the Journal that it was an Arizona man who was killed Monday morning when his Jeep collided with a semi-trailer on U.S. Highway 491 near Lewis. And Colorado State Patrol said in a news release about 9:38 a.m. a purple 1992 Jeep Cherokee was southbound on U.S. 491 near milepost 41 and County Road Y when it crossed the center line and collided with a white Freightliner semi-trailer, CSP said. The Jeep and 53-foot-long semi-trailer came to rest on the side of the highway and closed the road for 4 hours. Traffic was detoured. The driver of the Jeep, identified as Timothy Schrader, age 55, of Marble Canyon, Arizona, was pronounced dead at the scene. The truck driver, Gordon A. Fitzhugh, age 59, of Brigham City, Utah, sustained minor injuries. Speed, alcohol, or drugs were not considered factors in the crash, which is still under investigation, said the news release from Trooper Jeffrey Chimelski. So the Dove Creek High School District, or all school district, is working through the challenges for all of its students to continue with learning remotely over the internet. Superintendent Ty Gray posted recently that, quote, online learning has begun. The first day of homebound instruction and lunch distribution went very well. Teachers are working through any of the issues that are arising with their students, and parents have communicated nicely. We are still working with Farmers Communication to get another internet option in town. I'd like to thank the County Commissioners for working with Farmers Communication to make this happy. Parents, if you need the internet, you could help us out by researching what options are available at your house and let us know how we can help you get it set up. Some students are finding out they can work from their phones and submit homework by snapping a picture and uploading the document. Distribution of lunches went smoothly as well today, he said. However, we have changed the ordering process for anyone who would like to order lunches for their kids who attends Dolores County schools. Everyone should have received an easy message today. That's a school-specific blast text messaging system with a link to a form for ordering lunches. If you would like to order lunches for the week, please fill the form out before midnight Monday, March 30th. That was this week. If you did not receive the message with the link, you can find the link on the school webpage. And from here on out, to receive lunches, the form will need to be filled out each week on Sunday evening. He continues saying, thanks to everyone for working together today to start our homebound instruction. Please continue to communicate with the teachers and building leaders if you have any questions. And now let's take a look at our local weather. Today, mostly sunny with a high near 61 degrees, breezy with a south-southwest wind at 10 to 15 miles an hour, increasing to 15 to 20 miles an hour in the afternoon. Those winds could gust as high as 30 miles an hour for today. Then tonight, mostly clear with a low around 37 degrees, breezy still, and a south-southwest wind 15 to 20 miles an hour. For Thursday, mostly sunny and a high near 57, but blustery winds continue from the south from 15 to 25 miles an hour, becoming west-northwest in the afternoon. Thursday night, partly cloudy with a low around 25. Apparently, it's also very dark on Thursday, according to our graphic. West-northwest winds on Thursday at 10 to 15 miles an hour shift north and drop off to 5 to 10 miles an hour after midnight. Still, the winds could gust as high as 25 miles an hour for Thursday night. Into Friday, it's looking to be full of sunshine with a high near 50 degrees. North winds 5 to 10 miles an hour, becoming southwest in the afternoon. That will keep the air temperature still feeling a bit cooler. Friday night, mostly cloudy and a low around 32. And the weekend is still looking to be great for a set of spring days. Saturday, mostly sunny and a high near 59. Saturday night, partly cloudy and a low around 37. Sunday, mostly sunny with a high near 60 degrees. Sunday night, partly cloudy and a low around 37. And then into Monday, mostly sunny with a high again near 59 degrees. Monday night, partly cloudy with a low around 34. And now, back to the news. According to a report in Politico, Dr. Anthony Fauci, director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, revealed on Tuesday that the White House Coronavirus Task Force is seriously considering guidance that Americans wear masks to help thwart the rapid spread of COVID-19. But the country's top infectious disease expert also acknowledged that such a directive has been complicated by the nationwide dearth or lack of available personnel protective equipment. The idea of getting a much more broad community-wide use of masks outside of the healthcare setting is under very active discussion at the task force. The CDC group is looking at that very carefully, Fauci told CNN. The thing that has inhibited that a bit is to make sure that we don't take away the supply of masks from the healthcare workers who need them, he continued. But once we get in a situation where we have enough masks, I believe there will be some very serious consideration about more broadening this recommendation of using masks. Fauci cautioned that while, quote, we're not there yet, he said he believed the task force was, quote, close to coming to some determination soon on whether to expand the administration's recommended mitigation measures to include masks. Because if, in fact, a person who may or may not be infected wants to prevent infecting someone else, one of the best ways to do that is with a mask. So perhaps that's the way to go, he said, adding that the subject was, quote, under very active consideration and would be raised at the task force meeting yesterday afternoon. Some public health experts, including former Food and Drug Administration Commissioner Scott Gottlieb, have suggested that encouraging the wearing of masks in public could help curb the rate of COVID-19 transmission in the U.S., which now has more confirmed cases than anywhere else in the world. More than 174,000 Americans have become infected and at least 3,416 have perished as a result of the disease. And that is as of 2 days ago. We're up over 4,000 now. Because of limited testing capacity, experts agree the actual number of positive cases is much greater. President Donald Trump on Monday said he had taken note of the mask proposal outlined in a recent report Gottlieb co-authored, and that it could be possible that Americans will be directed to wear the face coverings, quote, for a short period of time. We'll take a look at it for a period of time, not forever. I mean, you know, we want our country back. We're not going to be wearing masks forever, Trump said at the task force daily press briefing. The president also told reporters that, quote, we are getting certainly the number of masks that you'd need to implement the guidance, even though Fauci on Tuesday emphasized that the distribution of masks still needed to be prioritized. Quote, you don't want to take masks away from the healthcare providers who are in a real and present danger of getting infected, he said. That would be the worst thing we could do. If we have them covered, then you could look back and say, maybe we need to broaden this. But in a total contradiction, quote, what the World Health Organization and the CDC have reaffirmed in the last few days is that they do not recommend the general public wear masks, with their reasoning being that the practice often leads to increased touching of one's face and can produce a, quote, false sense of security. This was the messaging from the start, which caused anyone with common sense to ask why they said the population shouldn't wear a mask, only those who are sick, and yet why would a doctor be wearing a mask as presumably he or she is not sick, but protecting him or herself from getting sick. So as you can plainly see, this misinformation guidance is yet another example of it being difficult to trust those in charge. There are those who would reason that it was because they knew the supply chain for hospitals and the first responders wasn't there, and having the masses purchase masks would only hinder the accessibility for those in the medical industry. Each individual needs to weigh the reasoning process on the mask, no mask issue themselves. The WHO representative went on to say that although there may be a day when we change our recommendations, particularly for areas that have large spread going on, about wearing cotton masks, the data is not there yet. From Vanity Fair, a look at what the current environment is doing to our already tenuous newspaper industry. The economic fallout of the pandemic is crippling the advertising business as Gannett furloughs staff, BuzzFeed cuts pay, and the Tampa Bay Times reduces printing. Coronavirus has led to a surge in readership and an existential threat. As Americans are turning in large numbers to media outlets for coronavirus coverage, the industry itself is struggling to stay afloat. Quote, "The coronavirus is killing local news," read an Atlantic headline last week, while BuzzFeed dubbed the pandemic a, quote, "media extinction event." Alternative weeklies, local dailies, and digital-only newsrooms are struggling with the current advertising freefall, compounding the long-running issue of advertising revenue migrating to big tech platforms like Facebook and Google. BuzzFeed announced last week that it would cut pay for its employees through May in an attempt to avoid layoffs, while newspaper giant Gannett, which owns papers such as USA Today and the Des Moines Register and Arizona Republic, told staff Monday that furloughs and pay cuts were coming. There's no cure-all to fix the news business, but Washington Post media columnist Margaret Sullivan has proposed directing stimulus money to help support it at this especially precarious moment. News industry experts have been predicting for years that a recession of severe economic downturn would deliver a death blow to these already troubled businesses, Sullivan writes, and now a public health crisis has come along to threaten exactly that. One idea proposed last week by Craig Aaron, president and co-CEO of Free Press, argued for a stimulus package that would double federal funds for public media, provide direct support to fund local news coverage, and seed a, quote, First Amendment fund to support new positions and approaches to news gathering. Among other steps to support local news, The Atlantic echoed the idea of federal support, proposing that the government, quote, funnel $500 million in spending for public health ads through local media as part of its future stimulus plans. Meanwhile, Ben Smith seems to want to rip the Band-Aid off. In his latest New York Times media column, Smith calls for a, quote, painful but necessary shift for saving the news business. Look to the future. Quote, abandon most for-profit local newspapers whose business model no longer works and move as fast as possible to a national network of nimble new online newsrooms, Smith writes, arguing that getting through this crisis requires confronting the reality that, quote, the revenue from print advertising and aging print subscribers was already going away, and when the crisis is over, it's unlikely to come back. A large part of the stimulus money that some have advocated for could, Smith warns, go to already doomed newspaper chains. He instead suggests building new institutions to support local journalists in the form of a new network of nonprofit organizations, citing the Texas Tribune as a promising model of this kind and small businesses like subscription sites and newsletters. The New York Times, which now boasts more than 5 million paid subscribers, has only grown in recent years as the newspaper industry contracted, a problem Smith identified in his first Times column earlier this month. In looking at the impact of coronavirus, the New Yorker's Michael Luo revisits the Times' decision more than a decade ago to install a paywall, and now that move helped lead to its financial stability today. Luo notes that the Times, Atlantic, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, and New Yorker are among the publications that have recently lowered their paywalls for parts of their coronavirus coverage, writing that an independent press keeps citizens informed and defends against, quote, rumors, half-truths, and propaganda that are rife on digital platforms. While these publishers may lose some revenue as the crisis plays out, they've also built solid subscription bases to help counter advertising downturns. Still, some good news for local news came on Monday as Facebook announced it would invest $100 million to support the business during the coronavirus pandemic, with $25 million in emergency grants going to local news outlets and $75 million more for marketing to help those struggling to survive the current decline in advertising. But as I further investigated the real application of such funds, it appears to have been earmarked for some large companies already, and it would be a miracle if small papers had a chance at seeing any of that money and support. As the Times reports, the Facebook money comes in addition to the $300 million that Facebook already committed to local news by the end of 2021. Quote, "If people needed more proof that local journalism is a vital public service, they're getting it now," said Campbell Brown, the former NBC News journalist who now serves as Facebook's VP of Global News Partnerships. And while almost all businesses are facing adverse financial effects from this crisis, we recognize we're in a more privileged position than most and we want to help. Please support your local newspaper. That's the Dove Creek Press, as it has lost advertisers with local businesses ordered to shut down and cannot make it through without the advertising support of the publication. Just like helping out our local restaurants, if you want to see the paper continue with local news, think of ways to help. Advertise a note of thanks or buy a subscription if you don't already have one. They are a critical part of the fabric of our community. Don't overlook that they need your support too. And today's happenings and notices in COVID-19 highlights. Colorado Department of Public Health and Environment on Tuesday, March 31st, reported 2,627 cases of coronavirus, 51 of them fatal, in at least 50 counties within our state. The state report includes data through March 30th and does not reflect cases since then, which actually have gone up. Additionally, the state reported 509 hospitalizations, 50 counties with cases. Ours, by the way, Dolores County still does not have any confirmed cases. 16,849 people have been tested, 69 deaths, 16 outbreaks at residential and non-hospital health care facilities. And our neighbors to the south on the Navajo Nation are experiencing tremendous impact with 148 confirmed cases as of Monday. They have put a curfew in place from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. and are policing its implementation. And a notice from our Frontier Community Health Clinic on sanitation. This is important information, they say. Scented bleaches are not disinfectants. They are mostly just deodorizers. Quote, regular bleach is the only kind you want for disinfecting surfaces. Make sure that disinfect or kills germs appears on the label. Proper disinfecting time and technique are 2 teaspoons of Clorox regular bleach in a gallon of water will kill germs, but only if it has been in contact with the hard surface for 2 full minutes and then is allowed to air dry without rinsing. And I post up all of these notices and happenings on our Facebook page, which is DCTV Daily News, where you can also watch the program replay along with the news links and stories of local interest. And you too can share other events or news there and join in on the conversation. Again, this is your local community TV station. So if you have something you would like to share, contact us. The email is dcbnnews@gmail.com or call the station at 970-677-4119. And I'd like to actually add another side note that there has been some chatter about having a cruise night on Friday, maybe a couple of hours from 5 to 7, that we could cruise up and down the highway Main Street, have a place to turn around and come back down, and people could just wave at each other and know that we're all supporting one another. They're doing it over in Monticello. I believe tonight is their first night, and that just might be a fun thing to do if people are interested. I'm sure we can all talk about it on Facebook. Thanks for tuning in to DCTV Daily News. Programs are broadcast Monday through Friday with replays online and on our YouTube channel or our DCTV Daily News Facebook page. And if you like the program, please do like and follow us on Facebook and share it with your friends and family. This has been a production of DCTV for the DCTV Daily News program out of Dove Creek, Colorado, USA. I'm Kendra Cook. Again, thank you for watching.